Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name's Jenny and this is Arnold the Praying Penguin, and we create videos every Saturday about prayer, about exploring the Bible and about living out your faith. So do subscribe if you'd like to see videos just like that. And today we're going to be talking about prayer and how we can pray more specifically. But first, why do we even want to pray more specifically? Now, this isn't about this way of praying working better or being better in some way or more likely to be answered, not at all. Big prayers will work. God answers those prayers just like he answers small prayers. This isn't about that. But I've found personally that praying more specifically helps me to really focus on what I'm praying about and to keep persevering in prayer because I feel like I'm moving forwards. And also, it makes it easier for me to see how God is working in the situation that I'm praying for. Rather than this kind of really big prayer that he either has answered or he hasn't answered, these kind of smaller steps, really specific things that I'm praying for, I can see, has God answered this? Has God not answered this? And if he hasn't, I can see a bit more how he's working in that situation and kind of where he's leading instead, if that makes any sense. So today we have 3 different ways to pray more specifically, and these are practical ways that we can go about really fine-tuning what we're praying about rather than these big prayers that may seem a bit overwhelming. What really specific things are we going to be praying about? So our first way to pray more specifically is the step-by-step method, and this works best for if you're praying for a situation where there is an end goal, an end point that you're praying for. So for example, this could be about getting healing for an illness that you have. And again, God can and does answer those prayers in miraculous ways, and in people just being healed overnight. We've all heard those stories. But that can seem a bit of a daunting prayer to pray sometimes, or a bit overwhelming if you're just praying that each day and not seeing that happen. So in the step-by-step method, we take this big prayer for healing and break it down into smaller steps. So this could be, rather than just praying for total healing, you could pray that you find a good doctor. You could pray for a good doctor's appointment. You could pray for getting a diagnosis and then finding a good treatment plan and then that treatment working. Those kind of small incremental steps. Or it could be just as simple as having a day where there's no pain, or having a day where you don't deal with this symptom. And then once you see God answer that step of your prayer, or not answer it as the case may be, maybe you see him answer it in a way that you didn't expect. But whatever kind of response you see to that prayer, after you've had that step, you just move on to the next step, and the next step, and the next step. And I think often these smaller steps, these smaller prayers can feel a bit more manageable. And they also help you to recognise a bit more how God is working in your situation, even if it isn't in that overnight healing that you're hoping for. And then that seeing how God is working should lead us to thanks and praising God, and can help us to not lose our faith. Our second way to pray more specifically is asking God for direction. And this I find works best if you want to pray for an individual person, but you just want to pray a bit more specifically about them and you don't know where to start, whether it's someone that you know really well or someone that you don't really know at all. So there's a lyric that I really love in the song Hosanna that says, "Break my heart for what breaks yours." And this lyric really just reminds me to go back to God and ask him to direct my prayers and to show me what he cares about and what he wants me to be praying about at any time. So in this situation, as you're praying for someone, why not take some time to ask God what he wants you to be praying for that person? That could be God leading you to a certain prayer for that person, or to be praying for certain characteristics in that person, or to be praying certain words over them. And you might want to write these things down as God directs you to them to help you remember and to keep praying for those things. Or just each time you pray, asking God for direction about what he wants you to be praying about them that day. Obviously, if it's someone that you know well, you can also ask them if there are any situations that they want you to be praying for, or particular things that they want your prayers for. And our third way to pray more specifically is to keep a prayer diary. And this is best for praying over situations in your life, whether these are big, really overwhelming situations that you're facing, or just the more mundane aspects of daily life that you might not even think about praying for. So a prayer diary is simply a space where you can write down what you're praying for each day. And you can do this however you like. You could use a prayer journal or any kind of notebook that you can just list out your prayers, or you could just jot them down in the note section of your phone. But wherever and however you do it, this gives you the time and the space to really reflect on your day and look to the day ahead and think about what you could be praying for. If you're facing a really big, overwhelming or scary situation, rather than looking at the big situation, you can look at actually what's happened in this day or what could be happening tomorrow and just pray about those parts of it. And as you're reflecting on your day and the day ahead, you can also just recognise those much smaller things that you may not normally think to pray about, but actually could really use your prayer. Things like a stressful meeting that you might have the next day, or someone that you bumped into in town, or the slight sniffles that you can feel coming on and you really don't want to turn into a cold. Whatever it is, you can take these things that you've reflected on from that day and bring them to God in prayer. So those are just 3 ideas that we have for how you can pray more specifically. Comment down below and let us know what are your big prayers at the moment and how you're going to break those down and pray more specifically for them so that we can all be praying for you too. And again, there is nothing wrong with praying those big prayers, and we should continue praying for those things too. We should be bold and confident when we come to God in prayer. And I think doing both of these things, the big, overwhelming prayers and the small, almost the mundane prayers, doing both of those are so important because God cares about all of it. So we hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please do give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos from me and Arnold. And we will be back next Saturday with a new video. Bye!